Welcome back. Recent incidents highlight the problems that older residents are facing in assisted living communities and nursing homes. Just a few weeks ago, a Festus nursing home that had gotten several complaints lost its Medicare and Medicaid funding, forcing residents to relocate with hardly any notice. That made the news, and there have been groups who have been advocating for those residents. If you have a loved one in a long-term care community, our next guest can tell you what they are doing to ensure that facilities are not just meeting standards, but providing quality care and comfort to older adults. Marjorie Moore is the executive director of the advocacy group Voice St. Louis, and Michelle Grownick is with the Missouri Alliance for Long-Term Care. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you for having us.
How did Voice St. Louis get involved with Festus Manor?
So Voice is the ombudsman organization for the St. Louis area. So one of the first things that we did when we found out that it was closing was we sent our ombudsman out there to check on residents, make sure that they knew what their rights were in the situation, because residents of long-term care have a right to decide where they're going to live. And so in that instance, we were trying to make sure that they knew in that process that they didn't have to be discharged to a specific place that the facility said. They could go anywhere.
And this was like without any notice. So how did you even find out that this was going on?
We actually found out from the news media. That's not typical, but that's how it happened this time.
And Michelle, that's not all you're doing. You've got something called the Missouri Alliance for Long-Term Care Reform. Tell us what that's all about, Michelle.
It's a new coalition that we just founded about 6 months ago. It was started under the auspices of Voice St. Louis, and it basically came out of my personal experience and Nicole Lynch, who's the advocacy and policy director, her desire to actually be more proactive in making change throughout the state. So we exist in order to follow what's going on in the state capitol in terms of laws and make sure that we can inform the community at large and also involve individuals, educating them, getting them to initiate action, bringing in people with experiences who can testify and work with our representatives so that they can make decisions that we know are going to improve the quality of care for everybody in residential facilities.
And Missouri legislative session just beginning, so what are some of either of you initiatives that you have going?
Yeah, so there's two that we're really following this year, and one is increasing the funding for the Ombudsman program statewide because it is so important to have those advocates in those facilities throughout the year. Additionally, we're following a bill, Senate Bill 164, and what it's going to do is require facilities to have liability insurance. Currently, they're not required to, and so sometimes when somebody has to sue a facility because something's gone wrong, there may be a judgment, but because of the way the corporation is set up, it looks like there's no money there. So basically families are losing loved ones, they're having really catastrophic events happening, and there's no payment for those sorts of things.
And the facilities could probably say, look, we're doing everything legally. It's just a matter of being able, Michelle, to actually get something accomplished.
Right, and that's one of the things that we really want to address is that there's a systemic problem when it comes to what the definition of quality of care is relative to what the residents' needs and desires are versus what the state mandates say. So that's one of the reasons we're trying to work with politicians to make sure that the laws really go above and beyond just meeting those minimums, but actually look at the individuals and create a life for them where they don't just survive, but they can thrive.
If you have a loved one in one of these types of communities, what types of questions should you be asking? Because I imagine a lot of people assume that their loved one, you're paying this amount, they're being cared for. What types of questions and which types of things should you be doing?
So I know that when I was working with Voice as an individual trying to educate myself on behalf of my parents, one of the things that they advised we ask is regarding the longevity of the staff, because the longer someone's been there, it's not just an indication of experience, but it means that they're happy in their workplace. And a lot of time it's the quality of the environment that influences the quality of individual that you have providing services. Another thing that I discovered on my own was that oftentimes, now that there's a corporate structure, that the staff will make referrals to other services, whether it's hospice, it's therapeutic services, durable medical equipment, pharmacy. without revealing that those are subsidiaries of their corporate office.
And there's a total, there's strings attached and connection, which, you would obviously have a conflict of interest.
Right. And then you also don't have the objectivity any longer, because if you're consulting with one branch, they already are going to default to be in favor of another branch because they're all under the same.
You should ask who's overseeing you and just kind of figure out if, if things are independent.
Right.
Exactly.
There is something to be said about advocating and having a grassroots organization, because I know Voice has advocated and pushed to have electronic monitoring in these facilities. Talk about that, because you made some huge victories with that.
Yeah, something this happened back in 2020, but we're still so proud of it, and we really want people to know about it. Before 2020, nursing home residents weren't necessarily allowed to have a camera in their room if the facility said they couldn't. So the big change that we were able to make at the state level is any resident can have a camera in their room if that's what they want, or if that's what their guardian or power of attorney wants. So it allows their family to see what's going on. And that's so important when we're seeing lower and lower levels of staffing in facility, so we can make sure that those residents are actually being taken care of. If something happens, we can look back and see what happened. And it's been a really great thing for a lot of people, but something that a lot of folks don't know about. So we keep trying to make sure people know. How
many facilities do you work with in the St. Louis metropolitan area?
So actually, Voice recently took over we now have the entire eastern side of Missouri. So we now take care of 500 facilities in 39 counties.
And so if someone had a question about a particular place or community, they could turn to you, and there's no charge.
Yeah.
Someone could ask you.
Exactly, yeah. So Voice has several different programs that help people who are thinking about moving into long-term care, might have some questions. We can help guide you and give you some ideas about, what you should be thinking about, where you should go, and things like that. And even if you're having a problem and you're already in a facility, we have long-term care ombudsmen who can go out and help with some problems and mediate on your behalf.
We just had the QR code up for the Missouri Alliance for Long-Term Care Reform. So if you want to learn more about it, and that would include getting involved.
Exactly.
Right? Tell us about that, Michelle.
So basically, we're looking for anybody, whether it's somebody who works in the system, somebody who has lived in the system, is contemplating the system, or just cares about how people in residential communities are treated. And they can sign up using the QR code, and that basically just puts them on our email list. It doesn't obligate them to anything. Depending on how involved they want to become, they can attend our monthly, on the fourth Friday of every month, we do a Zoom where we share information. We're going to be having periodic newsletters go out, which will also share informational and educational opportunities that they can elect to participate in. And then we are also looking on March 12th to do our first Advocacy Day, taking a bus to Jefferson City so that our members can actually be introduced to our representatives, have conversations, and see how the process works. And then if there is something that's being considered, such as the bill that Marjorie has referenced, we can actually provide testimony and speak in favor of those things that we think will be to benefit.
What has the support been statewide, outside of, St. Louis when you were in Jefferson City?
In the past, I've testified twice now at the invitation of Voice on a different bill that also was successfully adopted by Governor Parsons. And it was just very empowering. But with the coalition, we're excited to say that right now we have people from all across the United States, all across the state of Missouri, city and county. We have people that are former prosecuting attorneys. We have people that are gerontologists, college professors. We have people who work in the industry providing therapy services. We have a lovely representation of people who come into all walks of life and interests.
Well, that's great.
Exciting. Yeah, it's exciting times for us.
I know you can't discuss some of this because you're sort of prevented to, but we have some good news that you can share about Project Cheer. That was your holiday program, and tell us what that was about, and you guys made some big progress.
Yeah, so this year we set out to get 40,000 cards delivered to nursing home residents in the initial counties that we had. So we were able to actually top that. We got a couple cards ready for next year, and a couple residents got more than one card, which I think is really awesome. And then now we're already getting started for next year. This year our goal is 50,000 cards because we took on Southeast Missouri recently, and so we're like, we need to make sure that more people get cards. So lots of opportunities for people to get involved.
So holiday cards, and the idea is to have a card handwritten and delivered to every single resident at a facility.
Exactly, yeah. It's a big undertaking, but I've just been so excited to see the people of St. Louis and the people of Missouri really take this on and make it happen. We've had so many great groups get involved. We've had workplace groups come in, we've had school groups, churches, you name it, people have come in, and it's been so great.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how the progress is as we get, I don't want to think about the holidays anymore. But,
but if you're cleaning up,
yes,
you've got extra
exactly.
cards, set aside cards.
Yeah, well, Michelle and Marjorie, thank you so much for joining us, and thanks so much for what you do.
Great. Thank you so much.
Straight ahead on the Pulse of St. Louis.